All right, I do believe I am live. Yeah, I think I'm live. As far as I know, we've got Dacky's in the chat. Kyle Craig, good to see you too. How we doing tonight? Gonna make sure we stay hydrated tonight. Whatever hydration. Hydration. I'm trying to think of a word to go with that. Whatever way you want to stay hydrated. Hello, Lance King. Good to see you. QF Pro. Omar Ali. By the way, Omar, shout out to you. I always see you in my Twitter mentions, so I just want to thank you for commenting on all the stuff I do. If I don't ever respond to you, please do not take it personally. It's just I don't know what to respond with sometimes. I'm like, sometimes we tweet and we don't know what to say back. Chris Walkling, Wa Supremacy, thank you so much. We're just vibing stuff, big win. And that's the thing right now, okay? Let me tell you something. You didn't go to Greta on Friday. I did not. No, I was actually feeling a little under the weather. I won't lie. I would say around the first period, I started to feel a little like, I started to have a little bit of a fever. So last night I took it easy. I went to a restaurant with my girlfriend, and after that, I just kind of, I honestly slept in for the first time in a long time. I just got a bunch of sleep last night. I felt good. I feel much better today. But I want to get to something before we get it. Well, we're going to read OilersNation.com, go from there and just see what's going on. Some news this Saturday evening as well. But one thing I want to note is that, interestingly enough, on social media, I run the Instagram. I read the comments. What are people saying? We're trying to, be positive, keep the good vibes rolling, just having some fun on social. And people are like, don't celebrate too much. It's one win. Like, to be honest, we haven't had many wins this season, so we're going to celebrate every win like it's our last. That's my motto. You celebrate a win. You enjoy it. You soak it in. Because you don't know when the next win's going to come. And that's been really the case with these Oilers this season. We've had 1 3-game winning streak, and then we'll go on a 4-game losing streak. It's been very inconsistent. So you got to enjoy the wins when they come and make the most out of them. That's it. It sucks to lose. And how the Oilers have been playing this year, it's not been fun. It's not been fun. And we don't like being too down, too negative on the team. We want to, support the boys. And, I love what Leon Draisaitl said after the game, that he does care, that the team does care. And sure, it might not show all the time on the ice or post-game loss, but they do care. Okay, I guess I do like what he said. It's like how, unfortunately, it doesn't come across that way to some people. And you know what? I think these players do care. Ultimately, these are players that do have flaws. Leon Draisaitl, fantastic forward. We know what he can do. We've seen what he can do. But he has his flaws on the back end. Sure, maybe he doesn't defend as well as some other forwards. But he still can make up with it with his offensive prowess. I mean, Leon Draisaitl, this is a man who's arguably one of the best European forwards of all time. I'm not even kidding when I'm saying that. He's probably going to be a top 5 European NHL player by the time his career is over. And hopefully that's with the Oilers uniform on his crest. So I'm sorry, I just had to go off there. Because people are saying don't celebrate too much. What's wrong with celebrating? Let's have some fun. I had to go off there. Yeah, it was a shout out as well, Ali. The Oilers, I believe last season, did not get a shout out until March or April. So, the Oilers do not see many shutouts early in the season. So to have one in November was actually a rarity. Detroit fans think they are winning a cup before us. We are at a low point. I mean, they've got a nice little core there, Detroit, but no, I'm sorry. That's been depressing. Mathematically, we can still be in a wild card by the end of the week, and that's ideal, Kyle. That's what we love to hear. Hello, Sergeant Battle. Final buzzer. It's the first sign of life that we've seen this year. I was thinking, where does that Oilers win? Where does that Oilers win rank among the wins this season? Because I was thinking the game in Seattle was a pretty perfect game. Or was the game after that? Let's go look at the Oilers results recently. Oilers results, I guess, since that nation vacation. The Oilers, let's see here, against the Kraken November 11th. I thought that was a basically 10 out of 10 performance from them. And then I think it was the game against the Islanders, which was I can't remember if that was. I remember the game against the Kraken. The game against Kraken, everybody said we did not deserve to win that, but fortunately the hockey gods had different plans. And then we decided to go on a 3-game losing streak. So, regardless, and I was kind of surprised to see the Oilers even get a shutout against Washington. Washington's been a very solid team this year. Looking at the standings, Washington is second in the Metro. So, sure, you can say Washington just had a very poor night. To be honest, the Metro has been very weird as we look at the standings here. The Capitals are second with 22 points and a -5 goal differential. Hurricanes, same thing, 22 points, -1 goal differential. Islanders. So the Metro has been very underwhelming. To see New Jersey that low is also pretty shocking. I understand they only played 19 games and they've had Jack Hughes out, but the Devils started out hot, and they're a team that I thought were going to be contenders just like the Oilers. The Atlantic, on the other hand, of course, Panthers are pretty solid. The Lightning are pretty solid, as we saw. The Red Wings are all right. Maple Leafs are in the middle of the pack. Yeah. Switching to the comments. Happy to announce that the hot meal has been delivered earlier today for the Oilers win. Oh, nice. Hell yes. That's what we like to hear, Dacky. By the way, guys, if you haven't heard, we are gathering donations for the Edmonton Food Bank non-perishable items. You can donate. You can drop off some stuff for the food bank at Will Hawk Beef Jerky in Leduc, Sherwood Ford the Giant in Sherwood Park, I believe Sports Closet around Edmonton, and Dog Patch / Bread and Butter. There we have donation boxes set up so we can fill up the nation truck. So please, if you'd like to donate and give back, that would be awesome. Let me see here. This win felt different, though. It felt different. I do think that Washington did not play to their best. I will be a little bit of a Debbie Downer. That was a weird performance from Washington. I don't know what happened there. They did not look like a team that's second in their division. But the same breath, the Oilers had stinkers and when they were at the top. So it does happen. We got to take advantage of teams that fall flat. This is a weird year in the NHL in general. I do agree. Like the Boston Bruins, for example, Lance Kane. Let's look at the standings one more time. The Boston Bruins in the East, 14-3-3. Let's be honest. Everyone probably thought Boston was going to take a step back this year after that, result in the playoffs. They look like the same team from last season almost. Incredible what they're doing there. You have to win the game when the teams don't play there. Exactly, Lance Kane. Teams do that against us. We have to do that to other teams. Gave it a great game. If he and Dry can keep it up for sure, Mitch. I like listening to Rob Brown on chat. I don't want to promote, of course, Sports 1440 is where, but Rob Brown always, I don't know, I always think like the way he thinks. There are going to be games where your bottom six does score. They're not going to score consistently. So that's why you need your top guns to continually scoring. That's why you need your top guns like McDavid and Draisaitl and Nugent-Hopkins scoring. Also, very good to see Ryan Nugent-Hopkins score his 250th power play point. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins seems to always actually perform well against the Washington Capitals. That was, I believe, his 9th goal, 20th point against the Capitals. If you remember a couple of years ago, I think it was 2019, where Nugent-Hopkins basically split like two defenders and just rifled it bar down or passed something Braden Holtby. It was a beautiful goal. Search up Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' goal against the Capitals. Probably the best goal of his career, in my opinion. Thomas, I do agree. Alex Ovechkin has had you can tell he's entering the Father Time is catching up with him. I know the Capitals are doing what they can to basically get Ovi to break that record. So, and here's a question for you guys in the chat as well. Would you want to see Ovechkin break the record, the Gretzky record? I personally would like to see it just because, it's very rare that we're going to see records like that broken in our lifetime, so it might be very unique. Bring Maroon home. It'd be good to bring back Patrick Maroon, a guy who's now, won 3 Stanley Cups. He knows how to win. I know there was speculation with Corey Perry, but right now nobody knows what's happening with Corey Perry, so it's just best to leave that alone until something happens. But Patrick Maroon, I think if we can bring him back, I'd be very happy. He knows how to get the puck in the net. He can hit. He's Patty Maroon left a special place in many Oilers fans' hearts. I can't remember why we traded him. As far as I remember, that period of time in Oilers hockey where Chiarelli got fired and Ken Holland got hired, and just like prior to the pandemic, it feels all like a blur. Like all I remember towards the end of the Chiarelli era was him basically signing Mikko Koskinen to that contract of an anchor and just getting turfed. What a wild time that is. That could be a movie right there, a documentary on itself. Peter Chiarelli's time in Edmonton. How it went from, great things on the horizon to absolute disaster. So, yeah, I honestly, I'm having doubts that Ovi will break the record. It's tough because his goal scoring rate has gone down. The Washington Capitals as a team don't look great going into the future. Without Nick Backstrom, I don't really know who's going to dish him the puck as much, but that's just me. I don't know. Ovi is... The game is catching up with him. And it'd be tough for him to break that record, in my opinion, right now. I predict the Oilers will break the record of most first-round number 1 draft picks in NHL history this summer. How do you break the record? The bald menace PTSD. I mean, the Oilers have not had a first round number 1 picks. They haven't had one since 2015. You know the Calgary Flames have actually never had one, interestingly enough. So, maybe it's time for the Calgary Flames to have one. Yeah, no, the Mikko deal looks a lot better in comparison to Jack Campbell. Mikko was he was an interesting goalie to say at least. I loved him. I liked supporting him. I thought he got too much hate from the fan base. I thought the fence in front of him could have been better. I think both him and Mike Smith had on and off moments. So, also should neither did the Vancouver Canucks. Okay. I don't really know your point. First overall picks don't really guarantee success, as we've learned in the NHL. It's all dependent on the management and who builds the team around them. Who cares? Who cares how many first round picks you get? I don't really care. Yeah, the Oilers had 4. Look where that's landed us. Doesn't matter. If we get another one, great. Let's see what the team does with it. Maybe they trade it. I don't know. Yeah, great. I mean, yeah, I don't know why we're bringing up the first overall pick. Yeah, I doubt the Oilers end up getting it, but in the same breath, if we're bringing that up, I mean, the Oilers have also had more playoff wins since 2006 than the Maple Leafs. The Oilers have had more playoff round wins and more first overall picks than the Maple Leafs since 2006. Maple Leafs have won one first round since 2004, so there's one franchise you should be making jokes about. Montreal holds the record for most first overall picks at 7. Thank you, Lance Kane. That's what we needed. So, yeah, the Oilers are not close to that record. They would need to win the next 3 draft lotteries. So, the difference between a team who gets free handouts versus a team who needs to work extra hard to scout. I mean, is it really a free handout? The lottery. These are professionals. Blame management is like blaming your boss for firing you because you didn't do your job properly. I guess, Jaron, I do understand that a lot of it does end up on the shoulders of the players, but in the same breath, if a team is getting multiple first overall picks in a row like the Oilers did, that does lie upon management for not building a team well enough around those young players. It's more so what you do with those picks and how you surround them. The Oilers, I don't think they insulated them well enough. So, the smart play would be to buy out Campbell in the offseason and try to bank money this season for the Brown bonus. This team needs an actual reach. Desperate. I 100% agree, Brave. That was my point on ONR. I know someone made a comment. I was on Oilers Nation Radio and I said, I brought up the offseason, and it's just like, just because, yeah, you kind of do have to think long term at this point, because the Oilers are in a position where they could get a top 5 pick if things do not turn around. What do you do with that top 5 pick? Do you select a player? Do you trade it to actually get a top defenseman on your roster, or maybe a top goalie, right? So there are things to consider there. Like, there's one comparison I want to make this current Oilers team is to maybe the 2017 Colorado Avalanche a good comparison, where they were a team loaded with talent and they absolutely bottomed out in the league, and they ended up getting Cale Makar, but I don't think there's a Cale Makar in this draft. But to be fair, I don't think anyone expected Cale Makar to become what he is today. So with the team capped out, how do you fix this going? Someone needs to go. With the team capped out, how do you fix this going ahead? I hate to be that guy, but you do have to find a way to probably get rid of Jack Campbell's contract in some way or form. Other players who are making money, I mean, Nugent Hopkins probably won't be traded. Darnell Nurse probably won't be traded, right? Warren Fogel's got some money to his name, I think. Cody Ceci. So, I think we just like to blame. Lance Kane makes a great comment here. I think we like to blame people in sports. Everyone is trying their best. I do agree. I don't think any player on the Oilers is trying to lose. I don't think teams in general try to lose. Just sometimes you're not as good as your opponent, right? And I think the work ethic is another conversation to have when it comes to teams who are trying to win. I think work ethic is always going to get you ahead of everyone else. I think in my opinion, work beats talent any day of the week. Team that gets more number 1 picks is to plan out, while other teams with no draft picks who have to work. You're not wrong, FA. You're not wrong. But that's the thing. A team who gets number 1 picks has an easier time to plan. Not for the Oilers. It was not easy. Apparently not. So, Puljujärvi was a top 5 pick. That is actually correct. Final buzzer. Good point. Oilers have had to play a tougher schedule, or only 8 points. Oh, it's interesting, actually. Wise Kyle. I don't know if the Oilers have had necessarily an easy or a tough schedule, but yeah, Jaron, I think you make a great point, because I was even talking to this with Liam. The third period against the Carolina Hurricanes, that was the Oilers we want to see consistently. I made a tweet. I'm like, wow, the Oilers are playing fantastic hockey, but they're down 5-2. Like, what's going on here? But regardless, it kind of clearly transitioned to the next game. We just have to see. I mean, the Ducks are a beatable opponent, that's for sure. But they have been better than expected. Kulak and Fogel should not be on this team. Play Broberg on the third pairing. I'd love to see what he can actually do. Kulak, yeah. Kulak's an interesting case, because it seems like he can never really play well in the regular season. He's kind of a passenger. But in the playoffs, he kind of turns up another level, which I thought we saw last year. I thought Kulak in the playoffs last season was great. There you go, Chris Walkling. Perfectly put. Eventually, the Oilers may have to decide between Nurse and Bush contract-wise. Ooh, I like that. The Carter Hart thing still must be going on. I thought the goalie search was over. Maybe Campbell coming up for trade value. Skinner was in talks for Carter Hart. And, I remember that, Jamie, you think so. The Carter Hart's interesting because of everything going on with that 2018 World Junior team. It is one of those situations where if you trade Carter Hart and he seems to be a major factor in this investigation, then that's going to be like, oh shit, what do we do with Carter Hart, right? Why was Liam grumpy on Friday? I don't think he was grumpy, was he? I think he was just busy. It was a very, it was like, podcast 10:30, stream at 1 o'clock. A lot of things very close together. Honestly, Kane was the best poster boy for hard work. His talent wasn't working for him. So just give her okay, I like where you're going with that, Jaron. And like I was saying, I don't. This is just my belief. I think if the Oilers are going to make a trade right now, let's say it's a couple picks for an average goal, they're going to lose the trade. Like there's no goalie out there, I believe, that's going to solve the Oilers' issues. The Oilers are probably going to lose a trade right now, if anything. It's just, I feel like in the NHL, every other NHL GM has the ball in their court. It's basically, hey, Ken Holland, we're going to make you dance. Or you want this player? Okay. You're like draft lottery. I'm not saying draft lottery is not important. The Oilers honestly have had not the greatest scouting or best development. So the Oilers have had a history, especially pre-McDavid, where they would rush prospects, in my opinion. Player like for I think Sam Gagner, if we look back at it, maybe wasn't ready for the NHL, right? Maybe Gagner but it's tough to say. Who's another example? Maybe Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Magnus Pajärvi, one of those two. I don't know. It's at the time the selections looked good. Yes, Pajärvi at the time was a good selection, and then maybe he was rushed, right? So, I think some of the picks are starting to pan out. Like Evan Bouchard is turning into a great offensive defenseman. Obviously, the defensive side needs to be a tad better, but Leon Draisaitl, Darnell Nurse, they've turned into pretty solid NHL players. So not every pick you're gonna struck gold. I think the Oilers do need to be better in further rounds, but yeah, that's definitely an area the Oilers need to improve on. I hung out with Guzzola this summer, and he told me that the Oilers were offered Hart for Campbell, and we turned it down because which year was this? Oh, okay, interesting, Kane. The really sad thing is this team was very fixable in the last offseason. This last offseason or the season prior, Brave. I don't know about this one. Last thing we need is to make a big trade and it not to turn out. Yeah. I gotta read the comments here. Oilers can make a trade for a vibes guy like Maroon. I like that idea. Or like even a Corey Perry if the Corey Perry stuff wasn't happening right now. Do you feel that if you had a prime McDavid and prime Joe, they couldn't win a cup? Would you feel bad for wasting their careers here? As a fan, be honest and tell me as a Canadian. What was me being as a Canadian have to do with anything? To be honest, I don't. Why would I feel guilty as an Oilers fan? I don't make the decisions that the team makes. Ultimately, I want to see the Oilers and McDavid and Draisaitl win a Stanley Cup. It's definitely possible. Like the NHL is a weird league. I don't think it'd be a waste because they have definitely put up. It wouldn't be a waste because Connor McDavid and Draisaitl have put up some of their best numbers here. Like ultimately, it comes down to management and coaching and few other things, right? Like even right now, McDavid and Draisaitl are not playing their best hockey, so it's not like the Oilers are wasting them right now. They're not playing their best. Yeah, no. Like if one day McDavid and Draisaitl decide to leave, I would not be mad at them because yeah, for sure they definitely want to win. Would I be disappointed and sad? Yeah, if they left. Yeah, for sure. But ultimately, this team should be good enough to win the cup. Yeah, exactly. Final buzzer, and maybe that was a blessing for them. Well, that vibe guy last year, not just Clem Costin, it was also Kyler Yamamoto. I want to believe. The year prior to that, you did have Mike Smith, who was kind of that energy player in the room. Even Devin Shore was kind of that guy, right? So I don't know who that is right now. So also McDavid Draisaitl really fixed this franchise. We were a dumpster. I totally agree. Lance Kane. A lot of people think, well, what have McDavid and Draisaitl done? I mean, yeah, sure, they haven't won cups, but they put the Oilers in a better position than they were like nearly 10 years ago, right? Why are we acting like the season's dead? Oh, why is Kyle? Good to see you. I think people like to. I think it's easy for people to get down, especially when the season's going the way it is. I think it's easy for people to kind of give up. I have already seen plenty of people throwing the towel, and it's. If you look at the standings, the Oilers can climb out of this hole. We saw against Washington that this team can't perform at a top level. It's can they do it consistently, right? I'm not an Oilers fan, for example. If McDavid wins a cup as an Oiler, I'm happy that. Yeah, that's perfect, FA. I think you put it great. It's just the Oilers organization is very much known for essentially it's not known for roster construction, to say the least. There have been many moments where they'll make signings and it's questioned, and it's just how the history of the franchise has been. They've had a lot of talent, but they haven't been able to insulate that talent, I think is a good way to put at it. The Oilers organization since 2006 has struggled to play good defensive hockey or have a good goaltender for the most part, right? Like, as long as I've been an Oilers fan, they've never been a good defensive team, and I've been a fan since '08. So, we lost the heart last year. We had Ben to play for. I feel like they are just playing for themselves sometimes. They need something bigger. I think right now they need to play in a mindset, let's prove everybody wrong. That's what I would be. Mentally, that's where I'd be. I'm like, I want to prove everybody wrong. And sometimes that's kind of the motivation you need. Brown, I don't know how trading Brown will work. But I think they want to see. I think the Oilers are very committed to Connor. I really liked Connor Browning as Washington. I think we saw what we wanted to see out of Connor Brown. But one game is one game, small sample size. I agree that Lance Kane, I think you put it great. Yeah. I think that was going to happen with Ovechkin as well. At some point, even Iginla, for example, he left Calgary so he can go have a chance at the Cup. But that was not in his prime. Iginla wanted to win a Cup and win in Calgary during his prime. So even Joe Thornton, for example, he wanted to win a Cup with San Jose in his prime. Also, does anyone remember when Henrik Lundqvist went to Washington and never actually played a game? That is what Connor Brown is supposed to be, Wise Kyle. Omar, they need to have fun again. They look exactly, yeah. I think having fun is infectious, you want to do that again and again and again and again. So, I don't know. I mean, the Oilers have had they had an unfortunate start with Ekholm a bit banged up to start the year. McLeod is I don't know how to feel about him right now. I love the guy. I have been rooting for Ryan McLeod since he got drafted. I've loved his development, his come up through the ranks. I was so happy to see him get NHL debut with the Oilers and scored everything. McLeod right now, I feel like this is not the Ryan McLeod we can see. I think there's more out of this guy. I think he believes in himself pretty much. I don't want Ryan McLeod to be traded, but if he's traded and this team improves, that's a different story. So, and McLeod, I think is a good two-way forward. We need a Charlie Coyle. Nope. They really need to stop with the line letters. I do agree with that, actually. Yes. But yeah, if I'm the Oilers right now, I kind of want to mentally be put in a position where I don't really want to be a laughing stock, and I want to prove people wrong and say screw the doubters, look at me now, kind of thing. I think back to Conor McGregor before he kind of went. I won't lie, Conor McGregor nowadays is not who he used to be. But I remember Conor McGregor after I think it was a fight against, who was it? I can't remember. Might have been Diaz. And he was pretty banged up, but he won the fight, and he's on crutches, walking through the rooms, and he's like, doubt me now, because look what I just did. That's who the Oilers should be. Connor Brown is good defensively. Connor Brown offensively has been very non-existent. I think Connor Brown's energy is there. Maybe you don't notice it as much, but I agree. Waz, I've been cheering for Cloud since he first came up. Here's my thing with Ryan McLeod. I remember, I think it was 2019 rookie camp when I think Bouchard got drafted. No, I can't remember. I think it might have been 2019 or 18. I went to the rookie camp. It was 2018. Yes, actually. And I was just vibing there, watching the rookies do their thing. And I saw this one rookie, one prospect the Oilers had, and the way he was handling the puck was just out of this world compared to everyone else. You can tell he was on a different level compared to the other prospects on the ice. I'm like, who is that guy? I don't know who he is. Look at his name. It's Ryan McLeod. Damn, this kid's got some talent. He's got speed. Yo, Austin, good to see you, buddy. Yes, that's what I've been saying here. I think the team has a chip on their shoulder. It felt like with Leon's comments after the game against Washington, they be out to prove people wrong now, and that's why I love to hear. I love that mindset. Just I'm gonna prove everybody wrong. I love it. Cap hit, I think it's 2.1. It's not nothing crazy. His cap hit shouldn't be anything concerning, to be honest. Um, by the way, guys, if I like to promote other creators, Austin here, he makes some really good content. So if it's not Oilers Nation, go check out Austin Hockey. He makes great breakdown videos. So who knows? Maybe one day we have Austin on Oilers Nation. That'd be really cool. I love minds like yours. So by the way, there was a little bit of Oilers news this evening. Elliot Friedman in his 32 thoughts, not 32 thoughts, in Saturday night headlines. Elliot Friedman confirmed that Dave Gagne, father of Sam Gagne, is not interested in becoming Oilers GM. Thank God. Ultimately, I don't want Dave Gagne as GM because of also more headlines and more speculation that it's like, oh, we're just bringing in friends of the organization or family members of the organization, right? Just like McDavid, I have not been a fan of this narrative that he's making big core organizational decisions, that he's influencing decisions. I don't know if you guys read Elliot Friedman's 32 Thoughts article, but Connor McDavid does not like this idea, this cloud around him, that he's making decisions that fire coaches, you know. One thing is for sure is that Connor McDavid does get consulted about players. That's for sure. We know that. I think there was a report from Daniel Nugent-Bowman. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on this. But McDavid asked Holland, hey, can we not trade Fogle at the draft? So I think Draisaitl and McDavid have both been vocal about who they like playing with, who they feel like is a good fit for the team. So, yeah. No worries, Austin. I'm tired of the boys on the bus thing the Oilers keep doing. Yeah, he did Dacky. There was also news that Jack Campbell has requested Manny Legacy, however you say his name, to join him in Bakersfield to basically help him out and get his form back. Someone who's helped him a lot in his career, so. Could you imagine that, Dacky? That'd be sick. Out of the shadows comes Woodcroft as GM. That'd be something. Exactly. That's why Janmark's here. Yeah, Jeff Jackson was a fan of Knobloch, and also just Ken Holland also was. Ken Holland said in that press conference that they unveiled Knobloch is that he looked at Knobloch as a potential coach for the Grand Rapids Griffins when Holland was GM of the Red Wings. So there's been a lot of interest in Knobloch, and it was only a matter of time before he'd become an NHL coach, and definitely a little bit under the radar. Legacy, yes, there you go. Thank you, Wise Kyle. Manny Legacy. What we were seeing before the last two games was two superstars who weren't pulling their weight defensively. If they don't follow the mindset, who else will? They will win as long as defensive. I agree, Mr. Deadweight. I think the Oilers, like, throughout their history, have always struggled to be a good defensive hockey club. I don't know why that is. Even if we go pre-McDavid, they were not good defensively. So, yeah. I don't know what it is about this organization when it comes to defense. It's not a good relationship, I find. Do they need better defensive coaches? Do they need to scout better defensive players, right? Does anyone know why we don't force our gameplay on other teams? Still bummed to see Woody gone. Oh, definitely. I think everyone is. I think Bag Milk on his podcast said that if you go into a lot of comment sections around Oilers Twitter or social media, a lot of people are still saying, should have kept Woodcroft. We miss Woodcroft. So. That's something Jay Downton would always say on the Real Life podcast, that the Oilers would play down to their competition. I think we've seen that a lot this season. Trouba got fined for $5,000. Jesus. Also, the Oilers have been fined a lot more this year than previous seasons. I believe the Sharks right now are taking on the Canucks. Also, let's take a look at the Oilers' upcoming schedule here real quick. The Oilers tomorrow take on the Ducks. I will be at that game with our friend McMullet. He's been very kind enough to invite me. So I will be at the game tomorrow. Then we take on the Golden Knights on Tuesday. Ooh, a nice test. I am excited for this game just because we know the history of the Vegas. They've been good. It's going to be a great litmus test game. The Winnipeg Jets to end off the month, who are currently second in the Central. They've had a good start to the year. Then the Oilers take on the Hurricanes. We've seen what they can do. The Wild. It's not an easy schedule. You do have the Blackhawks, who we know. Connor Bedard comes to Edmonton for the first time, December 12th. And it's not an easy schedule, I would say, going into December and everything. I mean, I think to start the new year, the Oilers have a few teams they can pick on. The Senators, Blackhawks, Red Wings, Habs, Kraken. The Leafs are always a tough test, regardless of what you think of them. I think the Leafs tend to get the best of the Oilers sometimes. Kyle Connor's had a great Winnipeg Jets in general. I mean, the NHL standings, if we look at them, the bottom teams are, of course, the Sharks, the Blackhawks, the Wild. Wild have actually been really poor this year. East, you got Canadians, Senators, Devils, Blue Jackets. So, hopefully Gavin keeps his hair. I want to give a shout out to those who supported Gavin on social media, by the way, after last week and everything that happened. I'm not going to go into what happened, but when Gavin basically made a post about mental health, someone made a comment about it, and it was nice to see you guys backing him up, because we should never joke about mental health or take it for granted or make someone feel down or bring them down for talking about mental health. I do agree with that, Omer. I don't think it matters who you play. You just have to show up and win. That's what a lot of people have been saying, that the Oilers have been getting their wins against poor opponents. I don't care. I don't care who we beat. This is an NHL team. What happened to the Wild? I don't follow them much, but is it a coaching issue? It might be. I think it's more toxic in Columbus. I think they just had a slow start. Gavin's a legend. Hello, Mark, by the way. Good to see you. A Bag Milk on OilersNation.com last night. He wrote something about some of the players. Vinny Desharnais. How about him last night? He played a hell of a game. You know, he was tossing punches, playing his game. We need Kyle. Honestly, if you look at the Oilers' schedule, I think playing some solid teams might be good for them. No? Sometimes playing good teams gets the best out of you. And I think that's the case with the Oilers. Maroon, I would love it. I don't know if there's... So, yeah, Columbus is toxic. That's all I'll say. Philip Broberg is a player that we need to kind of consider right now, in my opinion. What's the plan with him? Philip Broberg, in my opinion, you might have to trade him. Now, I want to see the guy succeed with Edmonton, right? Don't get me wrong. But I think Philip Broberg would have more success on a team that's kind of rebuilding. Maybe a San Jose. I don't know. But yeah, Broberg, I don't know. It just feels like the Oilers keep trying. They don't have a lot of belief in him right now. So, by the way, just a few the Nation Gear Blackout collection is here, by the way. Our Black Friday collection. In my opinion, this looks fantastic. This looks beautiful. It's only limited time. You can grab the Black Friday Oilers Nation Citizens Tee, 3900. The Darkness Glory. Actually, ooh, that's a nice sweater. $80. I know it's a little pricey, But honestly, I think that's what the average sweater nowadays does go for, $80. Honestly, it's very rare you find a sweater that's cheaper than $60 in my opinion. But that's still very nice. It's a limited edition. If I see you wearing this, I will hug you. So, oh, and our hats. I love our hats, by the way. Nation Citizen. Honestly, I would rock these hats. Beautiful. The beanie. I might get the beanie instead. I might go with a beanie. They're great Xmas gifts. 100%. Are we misusing Broberg? There's a small chance. Deadfish. I agree. I love all black clothing as well. QF Pro. Columbus still had one of my favorite players of all time, Rick Nash. Shout out Rick Nash when he was on the cover of NHL 2K9. Does anyone remember when 2K used to make NHL games? I remember I had 2K9 on the Wii. Wasn't great. Wasn't great. So Gleason, I remember he had a great preseason, and I'd like to see him get called up just for a bit. So, a few other things around the website. Nugent Hopkins got his 250th power play point. I kind of miss 2K. Honestly, NHL games. How are we feeling about them? I know I was doing Chell and Shell and playing some Chell, but I don't know. I think it's an alright game. I don't think it's worth the price, but what else can we say about them? I think NHL games from like 20, like, if I'm gonna do anything, any NHL 24 streaming, I haven't gone back into it, honestly. I just haven't had interest in playing the game. I feel like I hop on NHL 24 and I get kind of bored quickly. Like, I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty recently. Tell us how you met Brett. We were in the same kindergarten class, I believe. So, I don't think the Oilers have anything that anyone wants outside of the nucleus. Why a trade would be dumb. You aren't in a position to trade for a game changer. I love what you're saying, dead weight. I think Oilers fans right now in general, some are very just antsy. I remember back to last year. I think maybe you guys can remember. Oilers fans really wanted a trade to happen every week, it seemed, up until Ekholm. Every day, week, up until that deadline, people were like, we need a deal. We need a deal now. Ken Holland was patient. Made a good deal, in my opinion. He hasn't been great. That's a deal that has worked out for the Oilers. Yeah, there's not much changes I found either, Austin. Like, I like going into GM mode and experimenting, but it gets boring after a while. Well, Brett and I, we were friends in elementary for a bit, and then we didn't really speak much after he left my elementary school. He ended up switching schools, and then we recently reconnected through Nate, radio and television, and then one thing led to another, and now we're working together. So, and we've always just had a good relationship. We've always yeah. Really glad to see Evan not letting the criticism get to him. I do wonder how many of these players on the Oilers use social media, because you do. I think Leon does. If I'm Darnell Nurse, I'm not using social media. By the way, if I'm Evan Bouchard, I probably am not using social media either. Jack Campbell, I hope he doesn't use social media, or somehow has like Oilers and hockey basically eliminated from his algorithms. So, I do have a discount code at QF Pro, but I will use that on myself. I hate to be selfish. Well, Draisaitl's comment last night, if we bring it up. Draisaitl. Oh, that's cute. Tyler. Zach Lang. Mr. Lang. um, this is what Draisaitl said yesterday. We have a lot of I think sometimes that's a little misunderstood towards the outside, which is obviously unfortunate. We care a lot. I think a lot of us believe in Leon Draisaitl. I'm not an Oiler player if I'm not on social media. Well, Evander Kane's a lot on social media. I know that for sure. The Caps have had a lot of trouble scoring, which is interesting for where they are in the standings, Mikey J. Yeah, Nurse, actually, yeah. Watched Harold Ballard documentary tonight. Daryl Gates is Ballard 2.0. I'll have to watch this thing. Yeah, I do wonder how much influence Daryl Cates has nowadays on the organization. I don't think it's as much as used to be. I think he's just kind of like a fly in the wall. Like, he obviously cares, but ultimately, I think Daryl Cates hires people to make sure his organization runs smoothly. And he only steps in, for example, when Chiarelli got fired. Like, that's the last time I think we saw or heard from Daryl Cates. I can't remember the last time we heard from Cates. I know he was, I know there was images of him during the 2022 playoff run. So, and even then, when it comes to business decisions, I don't think he's even a part of that anymore. I think Daryl Cates is just kind of chilling somewhere. Okay, interesting. Oh, Urinating Tree is so good. Classic. Great YouTuber. So. Yeah, exactly. I think Cates is more focused on Ice District and just kind of developing Edmonton's downtown a bit more and just getting more attention on whatever can bring in money. So do we truly think the goalie search is over? No, I don't think it's truly over. I think the Oilers will continue to look for a goalie up until the deadline, right? At this point, I think the Oilers do feel like if we trade for a goalie right now, we're going to lose that deal. And it's not going to solve the core issues. In old Gretzky's old mansion. Yeah, well, Lance, I think people expect Daryl Cates to. I think people blame Cates right now for the Bob Nicholson hire. So, oh yeah, I heard about that. Speaking on the Cates, just I know Harrison Cates is doing well for himself. I would love to see that guy run the Oilers one day. I don't know why. He seems like a good dude. Harrison. So. Also, shout out Paul Coffey and Andy Moog. I don't know if anyone's heard about this, but Andy Moog, unfortunately, has been diagnosed with cancer. He's battling cancer. Paul Coffey commented on our Instagram post when he announced that, and he basically said, the Penticton Peach, I believe, won't stop fighting. So, shout out Andy Moog, one of this organization's finest alumni. So, I don't know if there's anything else going on in the hockey world. We're looking at the Oilers' schedule. I don't want Harrison in the draft. One thing I want to look at: Oilers shutouts history. How often have we had shutouts? StatMuse is great for this. When was our last shutout? Oilers schedule. And in respect. Tommy Salo hype. Let me see here. The Oilers last had a shutout. They actually had back-to-back shutouts. In March and April. I believe Stuart Skinner was between the pipes for these games. Or no. Stuart Skinner. Yeah, the Oilers last season only had 2 shutouts, and I believe, yeah, it was both Campbell and Skinner who got back-to-back shutouts. And the Oilers in general do not get a lot of shutouts. Yeah, they didn't get. I don't think they had a single shutout up until March 30th. But it's been a quiet evening in the NHL, though. I mean, the Sharks are currently beating the Canucks, which is good to see. We love to see that. By the way, if you guys have been on social media recently, or especially Twitter, no TikTok, my bad. What do we think of Gail Lewis? Have we heard seen the new trend on TikTok or the new Gail Lewis? Totally off topic, but it's hilarious. Or the shutout leader? I think it's Tommy Salo. Let's take a look here then. Oilers shutout 3. Yeah, Tommy Salo with incredible. I won't lie, I think Oilers fans recently are just, I think under the McDavid era especially, they're craving like a Vezina caliber goal. You know, they want that Marc-Andre Fleury, they want a Braden Holtby, they want a goalie they can rely on every game, right? And I think Oilers fans have not had that since maybe Cam Talbot in 2017. Defensively, we a lot of fans don't have a faith in Darnell Nurse, unfortunately, but no worries, Jamie Fitzpatrick. No worries. 12 o'clock in Halifax. Yeah, I might call it early here as well. It's been a fun stream, though. We're just kind of going over the headlines and talking to Oilers and looking forward to tomorrow. So, if you want to relax a bit tonight. But Ben Scrivens versus San Jose. Fun fact, that was my friend's first ever NHL game. First ever NHL game, he sees Ben Scrivens get a 59 save shutout. Exactly, Mr. Deadweight. Oilers can't afford one. You guys gotta work with what you got. Kind of like how I brought up on Oilers Nation Radio. No one expected Aiden Hill to win a cup with Vegas. Darcy Kemper did not put up great numbers in his playoff run. They just need to play good defensive hockey in front of their goalies. Dead fish. Don't we all want one? I would love to have one. So, I want that. I mean, Matthias Ekholm's awesome, right? But you kind of want like someone who's just in that. I don't know. It's hard to find a Matthias Ekholm, right? You see, I don't understand why Tommy Salo doesn't get enough love from the Oilers. This guy has some of the best goaltending numbers in Oilers history. Like, I understand that. I think he had some legal trouble. I can't remember. But, yeah, there you go, Omer. Tommy Salo. History with the Oilers. Tommy Salo. With the Oilers, he had a like pretty solid numbers. Save percentage. Tommy Salo had a 914 in 1999. He played 70 games? Oh my god. The Oilers just basically hung Tommy Salo out to dry. 70 games, 73 games. 5 shutouts in a season. Oh my god, this guy was good. What the He was a 5th round pick by the Islanders in 93. Yeah. All right, we might need to have a conversation with Tommy Salo. Does he get in the Ring of Honor? Now, that's the thing. How his career ended was interesting. Okay, so in 2020, Salo crashed his car into the middle railing of the E18 highway in Sweden. Found a blood sample showed that. Oh, he was very intoxicated. Okay, that's not good. Okay, so he unfortunately, yeah, drunk driving is not. That's very bad. All right. But yeah. I mean, crowd Wikipedia, right? Like, I mean, interesting. So maybe that doesn't get him in the Ring of Honor, right? And a teammate cheated on his, even Dwayne Rolson, Lance Kane, right? Like Dwayne Rolson, of course, everything stands out because of 2006. So Dwayne Rolson played basically 3 full years with the Oilers. And of course, the 06, half a year basically, 06 Cup run with the Oilers. So Rolson, after the 2006 Cup run, put up a 275 goals against average, 909 save percentage. His numbers weren't pretty. I mean, a 915 is good. I think decent. But even, yeah, Dwayne Rolson heading into the playoffs, he was all right. Let's go look at the playoff numbers. Dwayne Rolson in the playoffs. Oilers, 233 goals against average and 927. Dwayne Rolson then in 2010-11 basically could have dragged the Lightning to a cup final. He was close. Incredible goalie in the playoffs. So, and Dwayne Rolson, he's just beloved among Oilers fans. He played until he was 42. Yeah, Tommy Salo. We may need to have a conversation about him and his yeah thing is. Well, guys, I'm gonna wrap up the stream a little bit shorter than usual. I know I sometimes go 2 hours, 2.5. We're just gonna wrap it up. Short stream. It was fun though. We covered a lot of ground, and it's ultimately what I want to do here is just have a nice conversation, chat about the Oilers, and get things off my chest. What late night about Waz is. Late night with Waz is about you, chatting with me, talking oil. But Lance, Empire for hire. Shout out to you as well, by the way. I appreciate you all the time. That was good until that terribly unlucky goal. Well, maybe Tommy Salo deserves a little love. Unfortunately, what happened in Sweden might cost him a spot in that Ring of Honor. But guys, thank you for everything tonight. It was been fun. Oilers Nation pre-gaming with Bordsley tomorrow, of course, at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. I will be at the game tomorrow. As much as I want to talk about the Oilers for another hour, it is kind of hard right now. But kind of want to enjoy my Saturday evening and play some Call of Duty and maybe get some rest because I haven't been feeling the best. Don't forget, if you'd like to donate some food bank items, you're taking food bank donations, non-perishable, and we're going to try to fill the Nation truck. Partnered Sherwood for the Giant. So we've got boxes set up at a sports closet. Sherwood for the Giant, Dog Patch, Will Hawk Beef Jerky, and Leduc. So let's try to fill up the Nation truck. Take care, guys. Have a good night. Thank you so much.